Hello and welcome to Speaking Football. My name's Tommy Hay and I'm joined here in Madrid by my colleague Rubén Palomero for episode number 109 of this series. Thank you to everyone out there for joining us today. If you're joining us on the radio, welcome. And remember that if you enjoyed listening to Richard Vaughan live over the last hour, you can hear more from Richard after this show on La Hora Extra. So as always, stick around. Lots of interesting things to talk about in today's programme. In a few minutes, we'll be discussing the managerial situation at Valencia following the sacking of José Bordalás and the arrival of Gennaro Gattuso. And we'll also be learning how to say renovación and complicarse in English. So very interesting grammar points there. We'll be teaching you the meaning of the phrasal verbs to play up and to play down. And later, Rubén and I will be challenging each other to see if we can guess some very complicated idiomatic expressions in English and in Spanish. We'll end our show, as always, with a conversation about something related to the football climate at the moment. We're going to be talking about the World Cup today, and we're going to be asking ourselves if Argentina could be the dark horses for this year's competition. First, though, let's begin the programme, as always, by revealing the identity of last week's mystery player. Okay, Rubén, clue number one.
He played for 32 different teams.
Very good. So he holds a record, actually, a world record for the most amount of teams. As far as I know, que yo sepa, I think he has a record for the most amount of teams played for. 32 different teams. I read some articles that said he played for 34 different teams. I think the official number is 32 different teams. Absolutely incredible.
Nobody knows. Es una barbaridad.
It's incredible.
A dos equipos por año.
It's absolutely incredible, but he was incredibly successful as a player, as we'll see in a minute. He was a successful player, despite playing in despite playing in so many teams. He actually had quite a successful career. So very strange career that this guy had. In Spain, he played for Real Sociedad, and he also played for Deportivo La Coruña. So those were the two teams he played for in Spain. What was his nickname, Rubén?
His nickname was Crazy.
Very good. El Loco, we would say.
El Loco.
Yeah. So like Bielsa, but it's not Bielsa. So the crazy one, we would probably say. El Loco, the crazy one. Excellent. Number 4, he popularized the use of Panenka penalties. And he had a very, very famous penalty in a World Cup, I remember. This is a big clue, against Ghana. So if you don't know it yet, that should be a big, big clue. He scored a very famous Panenka penalty against Ghana in the World Cup. Clue number 5, Rubén.
He's in the top 5 goal scorers in the history of Uruguay.
Very good. So he's in the top 5 goal scorers in the history of Uruguay. Really, really fantastic mystery player here. Who was it, Rubén?
Well, the famous... I'm not going to say. We are going to listen to it. What do you think about it?
Okay, let's listen to it. Yeah, sounds good.
Montenegro, Silas, Montenegro, Silas, Abreu, y gol de Abreu, gol de Abreu, gol de Abreu,
Abreu.
That
was a fantastic. Of course, our mystery player was the famous Loco Abreu, they called him. But yeah, Sebastián.
Sebastián Abreu, sí.
Well, I have a message here from Jose Ramon who said, some time ago I mentioned to you that another footballer you should use as the mystery player was El Loco Abreu. His full name is Washington, like the capital of the United States. Washington Sebastián Abreu Gallo. And he was born in Uruguay, but he's known as El Loco Abreu. He was a riveting, cheerful, that means like feliz, riveting, cheerful, or alegre, outgoing, extrovertido, outgoing, and a very nice footballer. 1 meter 94 centimeters tall, and he holds the Guinness record, or the Guinness World Record, for having played for over 30 different teams in 11 countries, including Spain. So 32 to be exact, 11 countries. Absolutely incredible biography. We could have an entire program about El Loco Abreu because it was just an incredible career, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely fantastic. Did we have many winners this week?
Yeah, a lot of them. For example, José R. Armenteros, es un clásico, nos dice Abreu. Es que aquí en España fue muy popular esa narración. Héctor Álvarez dice Don Panencas. David Torres también lo acertó, soy muy fan del loco. Bruno Martín también. Carlos Rubín. Daniel Martín Castillo, el clásico. También lo acertó Dani Quintal, Crazy Abreu, and the Sly también. Dice, so easy. Sebastián dice, is loco Abreu and definitely is not part of the one club men with a long career playing for 32 different teams. Mauro, por supuesto, también acertó. Víctor Alex García, que dice The Unique, loco Abreu. Pollo también acierta. Y Nacho Sana Juja nos pone un GIF de una persona haciendo como el gesto este de mover las manos alrededor de la cabeza. Como que you are crazy, it's crazy.
Implying that you're crazy, yeah, when you take your finger and you make a circle next to your ear, no, and that implies that you're a little bit crazy. Yeah, like it's an amazing career that the guy had, and a very, very popular player. I think a lot of people liked El Loco Abreu just because of his personality, and obviously if you're Uruguayan, he would be a hero for you, scoring that goal against Ghana, that penalty. And to I think if you're looking for evidence about why he's crazy, you have the decisive penalty in a tanda de penalties and a penalty shootout. And what do? You choose to do a panenka penalty.
Yeah, and you decide to dink the ball.
Very good. You decide to dink the ball in the penalty shootout to do a panenka. That takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of bravery, or maybe you have to be a little bit crazy.
Yeah, you have to go bananas.
That's right. You have to go bananas. Maybe I think he was a little bit bananas. That's a very that's a Woody Allen film. It's called Bananas.
Yeah,
it's interesting in English. If you want to say crazy, you can say bananas. You can also say nuts, frutos secos. Nuts is another thing. Mad, exactly. Although mad in America means enfadado, means angry. So I say mad for like crazy because I'm from Europe. In Scotland, England, Wales, Ireland, we would say mad for like crazy. But in America, if you say está enfadado conmigo, you could say he's mad at me. Is what you could say. He's mad at me, but not in Europe. We would use it for crazy. So yeah, you could say the madman Abreu, the crazy Abreu. But he was a fantastic player, very, very popular, and I think the evidence is how many people managed to guess the correct player. So thanks to all of you for your messages. Very well done if you managed to guess who the player was. Now, in our first section of the program, we're going to have a look at what's been happening in the world of football in recent days. And that means that it's time for this week's press review. Okay, so we're going to have a quick look at what's been happening. It's been a very busy week in football. I would like to start by talking about the situation at Valencia. Now, obviously, we have a lot of listeners from Latin America who maybe aren't following what's been happening at Valencia, but it's been it's been a bit crazy what's been happening at Valencia recently. Despidieron al entrenador. How would you say that? They
get sacked or fired?
Yeah. So the manager got sacked, you could say. The manager
got sacked or the manager was fired.
Very good, exactly. The manager got sacked or the manager was fired. You could also say they sacked the manager. Valencia sacked the manager. Or you could say Valencia fired the manager. The manager was Bordalás, who obviously had a very successful time at Getafe, a very distinctive style, very aggressive, very physical and all that. And then he got the Valencia job. And I don't know, Rubén, what did you think about Bordalás at Valencia? Did you think he did a good job?
In my opinion, it's very difficult to be in a final in the Copa del Rey, for example. I think it's something is not common, and obviously he wasn't in a good position in the league. But I think Bordalás has very, very, very bad luck because they have a lot of injuries because Valencia started very well the season, but then after the injuries. The level of the team go down.
Yeah, dropped. You could say the level of the team dropped went down.
So I think that Bordalás has to go on a year more, at least.
Yeah. He has to have a chance, or they have to give him a chance. Darle una oportunidad. They have to give him a chance. They have to give him an opportunity. And especially, as you say, they got to the Copa del Rey final. They reached the Copa del Rey final, and they only lost on penalties. They only lost after a penalty shootout. So to sack your manager, I think, is very unfair. The reason that this has been a little bit crazy, a little bit controversial, is that he didn't know that he had been fired. That's the story that I heard, is that he discovered that he had been fired from the media. From the press, which is that we sometimes see that in football, and I think it's a very ugly way to do things. I don't think it's a correct way to do things. So he found out that this was happening, and that la llegada de Gattuso a Valencia would be happening. So how do we say la llegada? La llegada.
Well, you have to use the verb to arrive. If you want to say llegada, you'll have to use arrival.
Exactly. So if anyone who's ever been to an airport, which I imagine is most of you listening,
arrivals
exactly would be llegadas. So you have departures, salidas,
and
arrivals. So we can use that in football as well. The arrival of Gattuso to Valencia. You can also say acaba de llegar. You can say Gattuso has just arrived. Exactly. Acabar de, to have just done something. So Gattuso acaba de llegar. It's a song by Fito y Fitipaldis as well, I think, isn't it? Acabo de llegar. Acabo de llegar would be I have just arrived, or I've just arrived. So Gattuso has just arrived at Valencia. What do you know about Gattuso? Because he's very famous where I come from. He's very famous in Glasgow because he played for Rangers. In Spain, do we know a lot about Gattuso as a player?
No, maybe I know more about when he was a player and how he played. He was a very defender, midfielder.
Very aggressive, very strong, similar to Bordalas.
Yeah. very, very strong personality. Yeah. Well, he's going to know how it works. I suppose he knows better another leagues than the Spanish one, but you never know how it's going to work. In my opinion, Valencia is a difficult place right now because the supporters are very angry, and maybe Gattuso has to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he has to fix it. Very good. Arreglar. Maybe he has to fix the situation. I would say that I have to say I'm a little bit ignorant of Gattuso as a manager. I don't know the style that he had at Napoli when he was the manager there. But as a player, he was incredibly aggressive and physical. Similar to maybe like Edgar Davids, but even more. Physical than
especially him. The character he was a very, very aggressive player.
Yeah, exactly.
And I suppose he's going to have the same personality right now, like a gaffer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, we never know, but it's going to have a very, very difficult challenge.
Very good. Yeah, I think it's going to have a very difficult challenge, a very difficult objective, a very difficult goal to achieve. But we'll see how he does. I'm looking forward to seeing Gattuso because he is many things. But the principle, the main word I would use to describe him is that he's very entertaining. He's very fun. So it'll be good to see Gattuso in La Liga next year. The next one, another article related to managers. Pochettino plays down PSG rumours. Now, this is our sort of phrasal verb of the day. To play down something.
Down, o sea, play, jugar, down para abajo, algo así como quitarle importancia, ¿no?
Very good, excellent. That's a fantastic translation. Yeah, quitarle importancia. So, how would you translate that title? Pochettino plays down PSG rumours. How would you translate?
Pochettino le quita importancia a los rumores en el PSG.
Very
Cada
good,
semana estoy despedido.
Exactly. Cada semana estoy despedido. So every week I'm fired. Okay, so the rumors obviously are that he's going to be fired, but Pochettino says he is not too concerned by the speculation about his firing or his sacking. To be concerned, what does that mean? To be concerned.
To be concerned. Es algo muy parecido, ¿no?
So that there's another more common way to say it, maybe a bit less formal. To be worried would be the more.
Estar preocupado,
more
cierto.
Estar preocupado.
To be
exactly.
concerned is to be worried.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to say estoy preocupado, you can say I'm worried or I'm concerned. You could also say me preocupa. El tema me preocupa. You could say the subject or the topic worries me, or the subject or the topic concerns me. You could say that as well. So Pochettino is not concerned about the possibility of losing his job because he says, según la prensa, according to the press, I'm sacked every week or I'm fired every week. If play down is quitarle importancia, what's the opposite, do you think?
Pues supongo que sería play up.
Play up.
Exactly. Voy a darle importancia a esto. I'm going to play it up.
Yeah, to play something up would be like sort of, you could be, I don't know how you would translate it could be like fomentar, it could be like echarle leña al fuego, I think you say as well.
Sí, pues sí, puedo decir muchas cosas de esas, darle importancia, echarle leña al fuego, prestarle una especial atención. I'm going to play it up because it's a very important issue for us.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. You can also play yourself up, which would be like alabarte a ti mismo, like to give yourself praise. You could play yourself up. That's what you should do when you're looking for a job and you're writing your curriculum vitae, your CV. You should always try and play yourself up. Talk about, I am the best in the world, I am Da Vinci. I'm just fantastic.
Y te puedes decir, come on, don't play it up.
Yeah, don't play yourself up too much.
Don't play yourself up.
Exactly, don't play yourself up. So that's the opposite, but Pochettino is playing down, le está quitando importancia of the rumours. So he's playing down the rumours. That was a very good phrasal verb there. Another one related to transfers now. La renovación de Gavi se complica mucho para el Barça. Okay, so a couple of very interesting things here. First of all, renovación. There are two ways to say this.
Yeah, renewal.
Renewal.
Yeah, exactly like arrival, renewal.
Exactly. So renew is renovar, and renewal is renovación. Renovable would be renewable. For example, renewable energies, energías renovables. It's a very difficult word for Spanish speakers to pronounce that, renewable.
Yes, renewable.
Yeah, you could also say green energy para esquivar el problema.
Yes.
You can say energía verde.
I'm going to write it down.
That's it, green energy. But yeah, so the renovación de Gavi. So we're talking obviously about his contract here. La renovación del contrato. So the contract renewal or the renewal of the contract. Se complica mucho. Now, this is a very difficult verb to translate. Complicarse.
You can use the Latin root, no? Complicate.
Complicate. Now, that would be complicar or dificultar. It's not reflexive.
No reflexive.
So
it's getting something.
Yeah.
It's getting worse.
You're very close. It's getting, how do you say complicado?
Complicated. It's
Exactly.
getting complicated.
Correct, exactly. So to get complicated is complicarse. To get complicated. You could also say becoming complicated, but it's less common. It's more common to say to get complicated. For example, la situación se está complicando. You could say the situation.
The situation is getting complicated.
Very good. The situation is getting complicated. So the renewal, so Gavi's renewal, you could say Gavi's contract renewal is getting complicated for Barça. La renovación de Gavi se complica mucho para el Barça. Now, it says no hubo acuerdo in the article. There wasn't
an agreement.
An agreement, very good. There wasn't an agreement. And el entorno del jugador. That's the difference. The
influencers, people around the player.
I would say people close to the player.
People close to the player.
Like la gente cercana is what we would say, el entorno. So the people close to the player are hoping for an improvement in the offer. Sigue a la espera de una mejora en la oferta del cuadro blaugrana. So they're hoping for an improvement in the offer from Barça, we would say. We wouldn't say the blaugranas or the culés or whatever. We would just say from Barça. So they're hoping for an improvement. Again, a good sustantivo, a good noun there. Una mejora, an improvement, we would say. So this is a bit worrying because Gavi is a very talented player, isn't he? And you wouldn't want to lose somebody so talented at such a young age, especially how he's been playing this, or how he played last season and how he's been playing with Spain recently. He's been very, very impressive. So Barcelona fans will be hoping that they can llegar a un acuerdo. How do we say llegar a un acuerdo?
Pues to reach an agreement.
Fantastic. Yeah, exactly. In English, alcanzamos un acuerdo. That's what we say, to reach an agreement. Very good. Excellent. And the last one, you posted about this on Twitter recently, Rubén. The Socceroos. Who are the Socceroos?
Es la selección australiana.
Why do we call them the Socceroos?
I think it's a game, a word game with kangaroos and soccer.
Correct,
no?
Exactly. So obviously Canguro, you would say?
Kangaroos.
Yeah, it's kangaroo. Kangaroo is probably the most famous animal in Australia, along with the koala. The koala and the kangaroos are the most famous. And dingoes, which are the dogs that they have in the outback in the desert. So the Socceroos are la selección australiana. The Socceroos have it all to do against Peru, but World Cup remains a real possibility. So this is my expression, to have it all to do. What does that mean? To have all...
Todo lo que tiene que hacer, ¿no?
Sí. I would say it's almost like tienen mucho trabajo.
Tienen mucho que hacer contra
trabajo.
Perú para permanecer, para tener posibilidades reales para el Mundial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, para tener posibilidades reales. Yeah. So Socceroos have it all to do. If you want to say, tengo mucho trabajo aquí.
Tienen mucho que hacer. Sí.
Yeah.
Hay mucho trabajo por hacer.
That's it. Mucho trabajo por hacer. I like that. If you want to say, tengo mucho trabajo por hacer, I would say, I have it all to do here. I have it all to do here. It just means that you're going to be very, very busy. So the Socceroos, Australia, have it all to do against Peru, but the World Cup sigue siendo una posibilidad. Remains a real possibility. So this is obviously referring to the fact that they have a playoff now against Peru for the World Cup. Do you have a preference who you would like to see between Australia and Peru?
I don't know. I like Peru very much because I went there a lot of years ago and I love the country, and I prefer that Peru will be there.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, yeah. No, it's very, very good. I think Peru are a team that have a great footballing history in the World Cup. Obviously, against Scotland in 1978, we have very bad memories of that, but Peru have great memories of it. And I just think they're a great World Cup team. I love their fans. I love the people. I love their food. I like their strip. I like their shirt. I think it's a very iconic national shirt with the red. What would we say? Sash, we would say.
Yeah.
How do you say that? Franja.
I would say franja.
Yeah, we say a red sash. You could say SASH, or I think it would say, or red stripe. You could say probably red stripe as well.
Yeah.
The red stripe across the shirt is very iconic, similar to Rayo Vallecano. And I just think it's great. The fans are very fun. I remember in the last World Cup in 2018, I went to watch a game. It was Denmark against Peru in the group stage. And I went to watch the game in a bar in Tetuan in Madrid. And Tetuan has a lot of Latin Americans that live there. And I went to this bar to watch it, and it was like being in Lima. There were maybe 20 Peruvian people watching the game, and the atmosphere was just fantastic. They were all drinking beers, eating food, and dancing as well, which is something I've never seen at a football game.
Exactly the same like in Scotland, no? You usually dance when you're watching football?
Couldn't believe it. They were dancing and watching the game. So I just thought it was absolutely fantastic seeing that. And there's a great atmosphere. Obviously, Australia is a great country as well. But if I have to choose, I think I would go with Peru just because of my experiences in the last few years. So we'll see what happens if Peru can beat the Socceroos in this playoff that's coming. Very, very good. Now, we are going to, just before a break, I think we have just enough time to introduce a word in this game that we like to play every week, which is called Play on Words. So to give you a quick summary, I'm going to give Rubén a word or an expression in English, and he's going to give me an expression in Spanish, and we have to adivinar. We have to guess the meaning of it. Now, I'm going to give you. I've changed my mind about something about one of the words that I was going to give you because something has just came into my head. Okay, so. I'm going to give you mine. I think I've just sent you it by WhatsApp so you can have a look at it. My English expression that I want you to translate is Bogey Team. Bogey Team. So check your WhatsApp, Rubén. It would be Bogey Team. B-O-G-E-Y team, like equipo. So Bogey Team. Now, I don't know, you've started to play golf, Rubén, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know what a bogey is?
Yes, that's what I do always.
That's what you do. Okay, so
Double and triple bogey.
okay, so a triple bogey. So a bogey team. Now, do you have any idea what this could possibly be?
Bogey team,
A
maybe.
bogey team.
Okay, I suppose it's not positive because you're playing golf and you are a bogey player. You are not very good.
I think you say it's not a positive thing. Yeah, it's not a positive thing. But
So it's bogey. You can write bogey the same way you write it in golf. No?
Exactly the same way you write it.
It's the same word. Right. Okay.
Yeah. B-O-G-E-Y, bogey team, a bogey team.
Bogey team.
Now, we have to go for a break now. So I'm going to give Rubén about 4 minutes to try and think about what this could possibly be. Because I think he needs the time because it's a very difficult one. So if I said that this team is a bogey team, what do you think I mean? We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back in 5 minutes. So stick around and think if you can guess the meaning of this expression, bogey team. Okay, we are back. Now, before the break, I gave Rubén an expression in English, a football expression, to describe a particular type of team. And the expression was bogey team. Bogey team. B-O-G-E-Y, and then team like equipo. So, Rubén, any idea what this could possibly mean? Or do you have any questions?
Yeah, I thought that bogey is the same word you use when you play golf. Obviously, it's not good. So I suppose it's not good to be a bogey team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you something. Can you tell me a bogey team, an example of a bogey team?
Okay. So a bogey team, it's related to history. It's related to football history or a record that a team has. Okay. So it's not something that happens in real time.
A negative record, imagine.
Or negative, something like that. Yeah. So, but do you have any idea now? Like, is that helping?
I suppose it's going to be a team who is very easy to win. Everybody beats them or something like that.
So it's a team that's very easy to beat.
Yes, because he has a very negative record because he lost a lot of matches. It was very easy, something like that.
Is that your final answer?
Do you have to be more specific? Supposedly, I don't know if because they are very bad player or there is a team with a very bad luck.
Now, it's totally logical why you would think that, but it's not that at all.
Oh,
it's not that at all. So a bogey team, I'm going to try and help you a bit more. A bogey team is something that you have as a team. Okay, so for example, Scotland, right? Scotland has a lot of bogey teams. For example, Peru is one of Scotland's bogey teams. It's one of Scotland's bogey teams.
Pero se está relacionado con otro equipo.
Sí. You need two teams to have a bogey team. So basically, if there is a team...
Okay. You can say you always beat to another team. That team can be your bogey team.
The opposite. If you always lose against a team, that team is your bogey team. So, for example, Scotland against Peru in the 1978 World Cup, that was our bogey team. They surprised us. They shocked us. Real Madrid, you could say that Levante a few years ago were their bogey team because Real Madrid were playing very well, but they always had bad results against Levante. Levante have beaten Madrid like 3 or 4 times in the last few years. So you could say that's their bogey team. I don't know if Spain in the past, Spain's bogey team was Italy.
Yeah.
Spain never won against Italy. They had until 2008, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Spain had won a game against Italy, like an important game against Italy. So you could say that Italy were Spain's bogey team. I don't know how you would translate that. Like,
es un coco.
Un coco.
Es un coco.
Un coco. So you could say,
un coco. Puedes decir que este equipo, Italia es un coco para España, porque perdía siempre contra Italia. Es un coco, qué buena. Sí,
that's really good. It just occurred to me there. I had a different word prepared for you, but then as we were talking about Peru there, I thought, what an expression that is, a bogey team. Peru are Scotland's bogey team because in 1978 we lost 3-1 against them in the first game, and it was a complete disaster. So I think it's a very good expression, a bogey team.
Bogey team, ser el coco.
Yes, era Coco. If you're at home and listening, try and think about who your bogey team is in your league or for your national team. It will be very interesting to hear who your bogey team, who your Coco is. So there you go. So yeah, that's the expression for today, the first one. Rubén, one for me in Spanish.
Yeah, for you. I have 2 words this week, and both of them are for football, the vocabulary football who usually speaks the kids.
Okay. So it's from children's football vocabulary.
Yeah, children football vocabulary. The first one is from Peru because like you told that you love it. I thought it was a good idea to discover a bit about this great culture.
Fantastic.
And the word is mantequilla.
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 Y te doy una pista. Se dice en Perú. Y es una forma de denominar a un tipo de jugador. Pero, ¿qué significa ser un jugador mantequilla?
Interesting. Okay, so mantequilla
is butter.
Is butter. Yes,
butter.
It's a thing that we usually use with toast. You don't use it too much in Spanish gastronomy. You use it more in French gastronomy. They use butter with everything.
We usually use oil instead of butter.
Exactly, use olive oil. So butter, I think I know what this is straight away because I think we have a very similar expression in English. So it's a type of player. It's a negative thing.
Well, I'd say that's not positive.
Okay, it's not positive.
Yes, that's positive. It's not positive.
Okay, so like, what characteristics does butter have? Butter is quite unstable. It's something that's very difficult to... Yeah, it can melt.
It can melt?
Yeah. Deshacerse is to melt. Yeah.
To melt, sí.
Like, como la bruja en El Mago de Oz. Yeah. The witch at the end of The Wizard of Oz melts. Sorry for the spoiler if you haven't seen Wizard of Oz. But yes, to melt. So butter can melt. Butter is very slippery, you could say as well.
Not necessary.
Not necessary. Well, I'm going to have a guess because we have an expression in English that we use in football and in other areas, which is butterfingers.
Yeah,
butterfingers.
I know it.
Butterfingers. So maybe this is a false friend, but is it for perhaps a goalkeeper?
Not necessarily.
Oh, no, really? Interesting.
No.
So my guess is, I'll accept that I don't have the answer correct. I thought it was a goalkeeper who is a bit, he makes a lot of mistakes. He drops the ball.
This is your final answer?
I'm going to go for it because I think that's if I don't say this, I've got no idea.
No. Un jugador mantequilla es aquel jugador que se le deja jugar ya cuando están los equipos completos y no había cupo para nadie más. Normalmente se da cuando el jugador no es bueno o es un equipo demasiado débil que se le tiene que poner uno de más para que ofrezca más resistencia.
Okay. So it's like that's an interesting one. So he's almost like a bench warmer. A bench warmer.
Sí, es como un calentabanquillos. Sí, es algo así como tú haces los equipos y dices, venga, y que no lo ha elegido nadie, que juegue con vosotros que sois peores. Y sois uno más.
Okay.
Pero yo, pensándolo en español, yo creo que no teníamos una palabra para eso.
No.
Listener, if you had that word, help us and write in the comments.
Yeah, please do. I don't know if I have that either. Like you maybe say a ringer, but a ringer isn't necessarily bad. A ringer can be a good player, but it's like an extra player. Maybe
esto es, tú en España lo que hacías, echabas a suerte los equipos, ibas eligiendo y al final quedaba lo que nadie quería, porque eran los que peor jugaban, y al final el último, que además son impares, venga, pues ves con este. Él es el jugador mantequilla. Le metes en el otro equipo, en el equipo que crees que es inferior, aunque solo sea porque es uno más.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's very specific. So it would be the last pick or the last choice. But
next World Cup, when you see to the Peruvian bar in order to watch any match, you can talk about it.
Absolutely, yeah, I think we'll do that. Yeah, hopefully Peru qualify and I can ask about this word mantequilla. No, I don't know how we would translate that in English, but that's very interesting.
Spanish neither.
Yeah, really, really interesting. Obviously, the Peruvians are very generous people when it comes to football. So yeah, very good, interesting. Okay, my second one is a general expression in English, which is to pull the strings. To pull the strings.
To pull the strings. O sea, pull es tirar.
Exactly. You see that on the
Strings
doors.
son como las cuerdas, ¿no?
Cuerdas, exactly. To pull the strings.
A ver, to pull the strings, me suena in the Far West, en la diligencia, que a los caballos tirabas de las riendas, ¿no?
Ah, okay. Riendas, that would be reins, we would say, to pull the reins.
Y podría ser algo parecido, ¿no? De como de controlar, ¿no? Y de ser el que organiza y el que controla a la gente y que el que manda. O sea,
well, in general, so outside of football, to pull the strings could be manipular. It could be manipulate. So, for example, he's pulling my strings, or he's pulling your strings. It would be, if you say he's pulling your strings, it would be te está manipulando. He's manipulating you. He's pulling your strings.
Okay.
So it has quite a negative context. You can also say in Spain, you have this wonderful word, which is enchufado, to be un enchufado in a company, for example. So you could say, in English, you could say, somebody pulled some strings to get him the job. Somebody pulled some strings or pulled the strings to get him the job. Basically, es un enchufado. But I love that. In English, we need to use about 10 or 11 words, and in Spanish, you have 3. Es un enchufado. But yeah, we could say to pull the strings to get somebody a job. In a football context, it's a positive thing. It's a positive thing. So,
I was thinking about, for example, I would say that a gaffer who was doing a great job because he has a control of the player, and you say, yeah, he's pulling the string of the team. O sea, es como llevar las riendas. Nosotros en español decimos llevar las riendas como algo positivo. Es como lleva las riendas del equipo y lo está haciendo bien, o sea, lo controla todo, etc.
Yeah, I would use it more for a player than a manager, I would say. I would use it as a player, I think. For example, Xavi and Iniesta pulled the strings in Barcelona's midfield.
Sí, también se puede decir de los jugadores. Llevar las riendas de la selección, es decir, to pull the strings, si ese es el significado, se entiende que Xavi y Iniesta controlan el juego y están llevando el equipo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Yeah. Well done. Exactly. Yeah. So as a player, we would say he pulls the strings of the team.
Yeah, because we started very bad. The first 0-0, but well.
That's it. You managed to get a point, to pull the strings. I don't know. Did you used to pull the strings in the midfield when you played, or were you a defender?
Yes. In fact, when I played football, I usually played like a defense or a midfielder. It depends on how was the opposite team.
Yeah, it depends on how the opposite team was. Yeah.
The rival. If we are playing with a very weak team, I usually play the midfielder because it was easier to master the match. And when we played against the other team, we are going to win the league or not, I usually play at the back.
Very good play.
When I was young, then when I was get out, I played in like a striker or like in the left side. Left
side striker. So I played as a striker. Remember, jugar como or trabajar como is to play or to work as something. Yeah. So I played as a left-sided striker, you could say, a left-sided striker. Very good. I used to when I played football when I was younger, I used to be a central midfielder, and I like to think, me gusta pensar, I like to think that I pulled the strings in the center, like Modric or someone.
Yeah,
but I probably wasn't that good.
You never know.
You never know. But I like to think I pulled the strings. Very good. And your last one for me.
My last word is a Spanish word, and the word is paredon.
Paredon.
Sí.
Not paradon.
No, paredon.
Paredon. Okay, so pared like wall.
Yeah, like wall.
Interesting. And again, this is something that children say more than adults.
Yes.
Paredon.
Well, you can see that in the trainings in a professional teams. You can see it, but it's something common when you are a kid. You are not going to see it in a official match. In a match, you are not going to see it.
Okay, so it's something to do with a training exercise. Paredon. Okay, so pared obviously is wall. If you want to say contra la pared would be against the wall.
Against the wall.
If you want to say entre la espada y la pared, we say entre una roca y un sitio difícil o duro.
Yes.
Between a rock and a hard place is what we say.
In a rock and a hard place.
Between a rock and a hard place. So I don't know if it's anything to do with that, but pared. Okay, so paredon. You're gonna have to give me an example, maybe a sentence If that's
Yes,
possible.
por ejemplo, you are playing you're a kid and you are doing something and you say at the end of that exercise, te toca Paredon.
Te toca Paredon. Okay.
Te toca Paredon.
Now you have an expression in Spanish, which to play a 1-2 is hacer una pared.
Eso es una pared.
Okay.
Tu 1-2 sería hacer una pared, que es pasársela a un jugador, pero eso sí que lo ves en un partido de fútbol.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. That's something that you see players do all the time. So to play a 1-2, we would say. In America, I think they say to play a give and go, is what they say. To play a give and go. We would say to play a 1-2.
Y de hecho puedes mandar a la gente al paredón.
Oof, this is difficult for me. That's really hard. I've got no idea. I'm trying to think. Paredon.
Y esto, que es algo que al final se ha convertido en un juego, cuando surge después de la Guerra Civil Española.
Really? Okay, so there's a historical context to this as well.
Yeah.
You're going to have to give me the answer. I've got absolutely no idea.
You are going to, ¿cómo decís tirarse de los pelos cuando te lo diga?
You can say two things. You're going to be pulling your hair out, or you can say you're going to be kicking yourself, dándote patadas a ti mismo.
Bueno, pues te lo cuento.
Okay.
Paredón. Durante la Guerra Civil Española era común mandar a alguien al paredón. Significaba que iban a cogerte y te iban a fusilar.
Okay.
Y esto pasaba entre las rencillas que había en aquella época entre los dos bandos. ¿Vale? ¿Qué pasa? Pues que la palabra ir al paredón es sinónimo de que te fusilen, en este caso con el balón. In fact, this week in your social media, you share Ars Whack.
Ars Whack.
And you gave me the idea.
Oh, man. I thought about that. But yeah, share it. So it was a game. Do you know Xabi Alonso and Steven Gerrard played it at Liverpool very famously? They used to do it to play this game. And it's...
Entonces, el que pierda el paredón es un castigo. Has perdido, te he ganado, pues al paredón. Y tienes derecho a fusilar con el balón, a que te den o no, depende de la puntería que tengas, pero te tienes que poner en el paredón.
It was brutal. We used to do it. We used to do it like most days after school. We used to play that game. Arse whack, we called it, which is very vulgar in English. Arse is like, it is what it is. Yeah, arse whack. Whack is like blast. You know, that is a onomatopoeic sound. Arse whack was the game that we played. But that post was amazing on Twitter. Somebody posted a photo and it said,
exactly.
What did you call this?
I don't know what to say this week. Okay, Tommy shared that. I'm going to translate to Spanish and I'm going to use it.
Yeah. Sometimes it was called arse whack. Sometimes I think in England they call it red arse, like culo rojo, because
it's like the red-handed, no?
Yeah, when they hit you in the bottom with the ball, your bottom becomes red and turns red. So yeah, red arse. But yeah, we called it arse whack in Glasgow. Brilliant. Good memories of my childhood there. Fantastic. Really, really good. Okay, well, we're gonna move on. We've just got about 10-15 minutes left of the program. I want to talk about something that has been in a few of the Spanish papers or Spanish language papers this week, which is about Argentina, the Argentinian national team. So there's an article from Marca in English, which is, can Messi finally lead Argentina to World Cup glory? How would we translate that into Spanish?
Bueno, puedes decir que ¿puede finalmente Messi liderar a Argentina a la gloria del Mundial?
Fantastic, very good. Okay, so the question in more basic English would be, can Messi lead Argentina to victory in the World Cup? Yeah, can Messi win the World Cup with Argentina? That's the question. So they've made references. I think in Europe we are talking about teams who could win the World Cup as being France. As being, who else, Rubén? Who else do you think is a favorite?
In Europe.
In Europe, yeah.
In Europe, it's very difficult because I think the favorite is France, but they are not playing very well right now. The common ones are Germany, but they are not very well lately. And then, well, it's very difficult. Because
England, maybe. I think England could be there, just with the league that they have.
No, do you remember what Alex Ferguson said about Tottenham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lads, it's Tottenham.
It's England.
Don't say that to me. Yeah, don't say that to me. If England win the World Cup, I will retire from watching football. I will never watch football again. I'll never use Twitter again. I'm not doing it. So yeah, like if it's a difficult thing. So, but I think the favourites, people don't really look outside of Europe for the favourites. But they've pointed out, they've pointed out that Argentina could be the dark horses for this. Now, what does a dark horse mean?
I know it. Dark horses is en las antiguas carreras de caballos, el que era un caballo que tenía escondida la capacidad y la potencia que tenía para ganar. Era un posible ganador que nadie conocía o que nadie sospechaba.
Exactly. Fantastic. So that would be a perfect translation, a possible winner that nobody really knows about. And it sounds crazy that people don't really know about Argentina, but it's true. I think we're very European centric. I think we're very focused on Europe as opposed to South America. But if you look at Argentina's record recently with Scaloni, their manager, it's absolutely incredible. You could say lleva una racha de 32 partidos sin perder. How would you say that in English?
You have been 32 matches invictus.
Oh, Invictus is more Latin. Invictus is the movie with Matt Damon. Unbeaten, we would say. Unbeaten.
Yeah, unbeaten. With Escaloneta.
Exactly, Escaloneta. Yeah, so the Argentina are 32 matches unbeaten. Or you could say they're on an unbeaten run. Remember, estar en una racha is to be on a run. Yeah. They're on an unbeaten run of 32 games. Yep. Which is an incredible record. It is a record for them, and I think only Italy have a better record, which was maybe 36 or something games. I can't remember, but they're very close to equaling this record. I don't know why we're not talking more about Argentina as a possibility for the World Cup.
In my opinion, Argentina is a favorite, but the first one is Brazil. Be careful with Brazil. They are playing very well. And maybe a final Brazil versus against Argentina could be possible.
Wow, what a final that would be! That would be incredible, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that would be absolutely
because
fantastic.
Obviously Argentina, I think, is a dark horses.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they could definitely be a dark horse because it seems that a lot of people have descartado. Now you can say descartar is to write off, to write something or someone off. So I think that a lot of people have descartado. How would you say that? They have
written off.
Very good. Excellent. Fantastic. They've written off Argentina. I don't think they should. Brazil, of course, are always a possibility. It's maybe the biggest football country in the world. Brazil. Yeah. It's more than a sport in that country, as it is in Argentina and a lot of other places. But really, you should never write off Brazil.
Yeah. I suppose they are going to be an European team that will be in the semi-finals. Sure, Portugal, Spain, Germany.
Anyone but England. But England, I'll be happy with that. Yeah, that's all. That's all I hope for. Sorry to any English listeners, but the idea of England winning the World Cup is just the worst thing in the world. It honestly is. It would just be absolutely terrible if they won the World Cup for me. So they did it in 1966 and they're still talking about it. So can you imagine if they won it in 2022? It would be una pesadilla. It would be a nightmare for people like me in Scotland and Irish people and Welsh people. It would be terrible. So yeah, very good. Excellent. Okay, so lots of possible dark horses. It will be a very interesting competition with a lot of the teams that are involved there. So yeah, it's although that I have some issues with the World Cup being in Qatar. I don't agree with it. I think it's a terrible thing and all the rest of it. It is interesting to think from a footballing point of view who could be the candidate, to win. So yeah, something to look forward to for Argentinians anyway this year. Well, we do not have too much time left, so that means it is the moment to finish the program as always by giving you the clues for next week's mystery player. Okay, Rubén, clue number 1.
He played in his native country, Portugal, Spain, and Malaysia.
Very good. He played in his native country, Portugal, Spain, and Malaysia. Good pronunciation as well. Malaysia is how we pronounce that last one. Clue number 2. He was a great inspiration for Messi. Fue una inspiración para Messi. So we would say he was an inspiration or a great inspiration for Messi. You could also say he inspired Messi to play football, for example. Or he was a role model, modelo a seguir, a role model for Messi. Mm-hmm. 3 possibilities there for you. Number 3, Rubén.
He won 2 leagues with Valencia.
Very big clue there.
Yeah.
He won 2 leagues with Valencia. So when did Valencia win the leagues? Think about that. And that gives you an idea of the time that he played at. Very good. Number 4. Now, we mentioned this earlier. Rubén, be careful with the pronunciation of this word, lesión. It's an injury. Injury. So, tuvo muchas lesiones en su carrera. He had a lot of injuries in his career. If you want to say estar lesionado, that's to be injured. To be injured. So you could say he was injured a lot in his career, but he had a lot of lesiones. He had a lot of injuries in his career. He was very unlucky with injuries. And I like this one. Clue number 5, Rubén.
Yes, his nickname is the Little Clown.
Very good, the Little Clown. I was on his Wikipedia page yesterday looking at the list of nicknames, and it was Payasito, you would say, no?
Yeah.
Payasito. But there was lots of different ways of saying it. The Little Clown, we would say. Payaso, obviously, is clown, and Payasito would be the diminutive, so the Little Clown. In Scotland, we would, and in the north of Ireland, we would say wee clown, W-E-E. That's Ito in Scotland and in the north of Ireland. So the wee clown in Scotland, the little clown in the rest of the countries. So lots of really good clues there. I think it's quite easy this week compared to some other weeks that we've had. If you think you know the answer, write to us on Twitter. It's speak_football_, and you can let us know who you think the mystery player is. Thanks to those of you who joined us today. And if you're listening on Vaughan Radio, remember, stick around with us here for La Hora Extra with Richard Vaughan, which starts in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us as always, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.